Hello, 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 everyone. It is Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for all things art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun and simple art projects. Hello, happy Wednesday. First thing I want to say is, how are all my friends, watchers, peeps, crafters, creators in Florida and the South doing? I live in New York, where you get hurricanes from time to time, so I understand the anxiety and the pain, and then even the crap that you have to do. So hopefully everyone is safe and sound, and there's not too much activity going on. So we are painting this, excuse me, pre-etched blank from Diverse Woodworking. It's a sunflower. It is fall. So, and I'm just going to put out some paint here and get started. You can grab these blanks, and you can grab these blanks with the special code CRTC, Craft Around the Clock, 15 for 15% off if you want. I put the link up in there. Is this the same color? Yeah, well, this is the same color. I put the link up in there, and I will get started painting. Here we go. Here's the light. So I put out two of the same color. Well, not really. I stopped myself, but you know, it happens. You're talking, you're painting, you're doing whatever. Let me move this. I was working on a kit. Do you guys like this? This is just a little something I painted last night in a dough bowl. Is that cute? I don't know. It might need a little something, something. Let me know. Okay? I'll put that over. Well, I'll put it over here so you guys can be like, oh, what is that off to the side that you painted? Is that a dough bowl? And I will say, why, yes, it is. Okay, I'm just getting my time lapse going, because you know me, I will forget. So we hop on. Let me see if I can see some comments here, because sometimes, where are they? I don't see the comments, you guys. Maybe nobody. Oh, here we go. I wasn't over far enough. Here we go. Hello, hello, hello. Let's say hi. Okay, so there we go. All right. So I'm going to put out two color greens just to get started with, to do around the outside. Now, what I love about these, and what I love about my kits, of course, these are pre-etched. You can barely feel it, but it's like you already have the design in there. It's ready to go. Now, I can do this one with a white base coat if I wanted to. Had I been more prepared, sorry, I probably would have. And then that would be a good thing to show you too, because if you do a white base coat, you can still see the lines. Now I'm being careful to go around the design that's in here, but if you mess up, it's totally okay. I say it all the time, it is acrylic paint. You can fix anything. So I'm just gently going around. Good morning, good morning. My cutout here of my sunflower, and you will definitely be able to still see the lines if you make a mistake, or if you wanted to base coat this first, you can definitely still see the lines. All my kits also come pre-traced and ready to go. I like my painters to feel not stressful. There's no huffing in painting. No huffing, no sighing in painting. It should be relaxation. It should be an opportunity for you to just chill. You know what? It doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nope. I have a friend that says there's no perfect on this side of heaven. I just usually say it's just paint. You can fix anything. But you know what? Often you don't even have to. Art is very, very subjective. So up in here, around here, I might grab a different brush, but while this one is dirty and I can use it, I'm going to continue using it. I might grab a little bit of a different brush to get in all the nooks and crannies. And if you see, I keep going back and forth between my dark green and my light green, because I like to have a variation. I don't want my background to be one solid color. If I only had one green, I would mix a little black or a little white with that green to mix it up. Okay? So I would have a little bit of a darker green or a lighter green, whichever, if I had black or white. And this way, our background is not completely monotone. This gives it some dimension and some depth and a little bit more of an interesting back. And that's another reason why I say my hand-painted items, no two will ever be the same, because I couldn't possibly make this background exactly the same. And that's also why your guys' paintings are your guys' paintings. They're not my paintings. They won't look like mine. I use a different mix. I have a different pressure on the brush. And that's okay. It's all okay. So if you want this blank, which pre-traced, there is a promo code for Craft Round the Clock for 15% off. You can grab one or two or however many you want. You can have your own little fall party with them. You can paint them any colors you want. They don't have to be this color. I do think I'm going to go over it because I didn't do a base coat of white. I'm going to do a quick second coat. I don't have to be as careful with it. I just want to get in and around and do a second coat. You can see I'm going much quicker this time, not to bore you guys. So yes, I'm going much quicker this time. I don't have to cut in as much. I'm still picking up both colors. And this is just the base coat. We're going to get into the details, and that's when our wall hanging, door hanging, whatever you want to call it, will really pop. And that's when you make it your own, depending on what kind of details you want to add to it. How much, how little. I tend to be a little bit of a minimalist. I'm under the philosophy of less is more. It doesn't always happen that way, because sometimes when I'm in here painting, if I'm just painting in here for myself, you guys, I get in the zone, and then it's like, do, I guess I should have put the brush down a while ago. But it happens. It's okay. Again, just paint. You can fix anything. We don't fret about it. I'm not worrying about getting over these letters or too close to these letters. I don't know what color I'm going to paint them yet, but it might end up being black or a chocolate brown. Either way, it'll be darker. Even if it was lighter, it would take a few coats, but I could still fix it. So I'm not minding if I'm getting in here to my letters a little bit, because I'm going to go over my letters probably with brown or black, and then you'll still be able to see. It'll cover up the green where I went inside the lines, and I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, it's like a coloring book, you guys. You can try and stay in the lines, but if you mess up, it's totally okay. Adult wood coloring boards. That's what these are. I'm getting all these nooks and crannies. And the only stuff I miss is the stuff where I have to change my brush for. All right, I'm gonna turn this around. There we go. I'm gonna wash this. And smaller brush. Maybe I'll just use my liner. And I'm just going in and getting around here. So, and I don't mind if I go over the lines, because at the end, I'm going to carefully and slowly fill in all my lettering. It's another beauty about these pre-etched and ready to go designs. They're already lettered for you. So if you struggle with lettering like I do, you don't have to worry about it. Two things I'm challenged with, you guys: lettering and bow making. And I've had world-renowned experts. Well, I wouldn't say world-renowned experts. Well, I did just say it, but I've had experts teach me bows. I have taken a bow class at Pinners. I have watched bow videos on YouTube. I have had somebody hold my hand and my ribbon and help me make a bow. And yet, sad to say, I'm still bow challenged. I don't know what it is. Mental block, uncoordination, I have no idea. But whatever it is, I have trouble with bows. Oh, I want to do the inside first. So I'm getting out a little bit of brown, and I'll put out my yellows. So this is a beautiful color. I don't want that beautiful color. It is a beautiful color, but I don't want it. I want a softer color. That one's a little too bright, so I'm putting out yellow ochre, Deco Art yellow ochre. Look at the difference here. So look at these two different yellow ochres. Yellow ochre Deco Art, yellow ochre Folk Art. If you want a darker yellow ochre, you have to get deep ochre from Deco Art. Just learned that, so I'm passing it on. Well, this is tight. Yellow ochre in Folk Art and deep ochre, yellow ochre in Deco Art is a much more goldeny color. Okay, so I was going to use this saffron, but it's a little orangey for my sunflower, so I decided not to use it. This brush could work. Let's see, put that one back for a second. All right, I'm going to wet it, bring it together. We'll see if this brush is a little too ornery. First thing I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to fill in my center. Oops. This again is just a base coat, and I'm gently filling in the center of my sunflower. I have one of them easy bow makers, Sally. I guess I should break it out and try it. Maybe it'll make for a funny YouTube video. Okay. Now, when I do my petals, I'm going to use both colors. I'm going to double load my brush. Okay. And I'm going to start with a big full leaf here, or full petal. It makes it easier, and then I'll go in and fill in the little tiny ones around the outside. So I use my dark to the outside, flip over my brush, and get that nice and filled in. There we go. So like I said, I'm going to skip the little half petals. I'm going to do these first. They're bigger and easier because I might have to change my brush again. So I always want my dark to the outside, and then I'm just filling in the petal. There we go. So I am happy that I have my art to keep me busy and take away from the little sadness once in a while. I've always been like this. I was one of those mothers, and tell me I know, everybody told me I was crazy. I was one of those moms. My girls are now 7 and 29, and I was always one of those moms. And it's okay if you weren't. We're all, you know, unique. I was always one of those moms that was sad when my kids had to go back to school. So sad. I even had a principal tell me once, get over it. It's our turn. You had the summer, now you're giving back to us. Okay. On these little ones, I want most of that to be light in there, so I am going to change my brush. Because when I come in, if you see down in here in these middle of these flowers, the edges are dark, but the insides are light. So I'm just going to pick up this little brush and swish in my light paint. I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to get the dark on the edge and refill in my edges here. What I think is this time, I'm going to do the center and bring it up like that. And this little bit here, and then bring it in like that here. There we go. I can put that down, and I'll go back to my yellow ochre and now put my dark in there. There we go. Fix that. I can come back and just touch that up with the green after. It is paint. You can fix anything, remember? Let it dry. When you want to blend, you want your paint to be wet. When you want to fix, tweak, enhance, you need your paint to dry. You need to have some really good patience and let your paint dry. So there is my sunflower. Okay? Yellow ochre around the edge, light in the middle. And I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to get out my liner brush again. Clean it off. And I'm just going to go around and I'm going to just clean up around the edges. There we go. I'm going to do this in 2 steps to show you also how I do some shading in here. But for now, I'm just cleaning up around my edges. I'm only using the dark because I'm going to do some shading. I'm going to show you how I do that. But right now, I'm just cleaning up my edges with my liner brush. And there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to take, since this is brown, I'm going to rinse my brush. And I'm just going to get a little bit of thinned brown out here. I'm thinning it with water. It's mostly water. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to add this thin brown paint, sunflower. It's almost going to make it look like the sunflower is lifted in 3D. That's a little dark up there, on the wood. And I'm just using this and going around. You don't want it so thin that it runs all down your painting. You just want it thin enough to spread on. And then we have a nice little shadow behind there. And it looks like our sunflower is like floating on the wood. Almost looks 3D, right? Put out a little black paint. How are we? 11:53. Okay. Get my liner brush again. I'm going to take this black paint. I like to twirl my liner brush between my thumb and my finger so it has a nice point to it. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go around the edge. Now, if you wanted to, you can make this straight and just trace on the line. I like to give it a little bit of a curvy, scalloped edge. Okay? And I'm going to give a few black dots down here. A lot of times when I do dotting, I do it with the back of my brush, but I want these to all be random in different sizes, and depending on how much pressure I put on my brush, they will be all random in different sizes. Okay, now I'm going to get again this Deco Art yellow ochre. That is just a very, very pale, soft yellow, and I love it. And now I'm adding a little bit of highlight up in here. I'm not going to go over the same thing. I'm not going to go over this whole thing. I just want some of the highlight in one area up in there. Leave the rest dark, like it's underneath. Okay? And then what do you guys think? Should I do the lettering in brown or black? You know what? I'm going to try the brown. We'll do a couple of letters. If we don't like it, I can switch to black. It's easier to go from brown to black than it is from black to brown, although it is possible. All right, I'm going to turn it upside down because I'm going to start with the F. I'm going to get some of my brown paint. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start. I still have to add some highlights over here to the flower. I'm letting that dry up, letting that get ready for me. That's just waiting. Okay, now I use this little tiny brush. Let me see what size this is. And again, they're not universal. This is a number 2 flat from Deco Art, but brush sizes are not universal. So what is a 2 in Deco Art is not a 2 in Artist Craft, and blah, blah, blah. So you just have to get a brush that you're comfortable with. I like how this one fits in the serifs and these little tails and fanciness. This is something I learned a long time ago as a child. I worked in a graphic design studio as a child. I was out of college. I worked in a graphic design studio. I was the office manager, bookkeeper. I did not do graphic design, believe it or not. And it's when I learned what serifs were and sans serifs. So if a font is sans serif, it's just regular print without these little fancy tails and hats. So yes, so these are serifs. If a font is without these and it's just block lettering and printing, it's called sans serif. So I like to use a little brush for these letterings that fits the smallest part of the letter. Because when you want to be narrower, you just put a little less pressure on the brush. So it's good to just have a brush that fits right in here. So I've done 2 letters. Are we happy with our brown choice? I'm actually going to outline them in black. So I think it's going to look good because I think I can do the letters in the brown and then I will come back in and outline them with black. And then we killed 2 birds with 1 stone, although I hate that saying. My mother used to always say 2 things. 2 things I remember my mother always saying, and she's been gone a very long time. My mother used to always say, live by the golden rule. Do unto others. And she would also say, be a leader, not a follower. 2 very wise sayings. Okay, there's my brown. I might use my liner brush for hello. We'll see. I'll get started. See, on these little letters here, I got quite a bit of green paint on there, but I'm not going to worry about it because this brown, and if I was doing black, it would cover right over it. If I was doing white, it would still cover over it. It would just need a couple of coats, maybe even 3. So I don't get too hung up. The lines, inside the lines, whatever, mess up the lines, however you want to do it. It's art, it's fine. It's art, it can't be wrong. So again, you can grab these blanks if you want. They're on my website. There is a code today, CRTC, Grab Round the Clock 15, for 15% off these blanks. They will ship by Friday. And then you can either reference this video and use my colors, or you can do whatever color you want. If I would say so, so does, and my parents would say, if they jumped off the bridge, would you do it too? Yes, my mom used to say that too. That was part of her, that was the second part of her be a leader, not a follower. Be a leader, not a follower. If they jumped off the bridge, would you jump too? And actually, as a kid growing up in a very, very rural area, I probably would have jumped off the bridge. I did some crazy stuff as a kid. I had no fear, loved the water, and so if it looked fun, I was doing it, and yes, I probably would have jumped off the bridge. But not because they were doing it, because I wanted to do it. So there's a difference there, right? Total difference. If you're jumping off the bridge because you want to, is total difference than if you're just jumping because everybody else is. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a second coat, and in my second coat, I'm going to pick up a little bit of this, the yellow ochre, and add some highlighting to it, just a little bit. And again, I would suggest, if you were going to do these, that I would take a big brush and paint the whole thing white first. If you do that, you will avoid having to do a second coat. Second coat goes much quicker, but so does grabbing a, and you can use a big 1-inch brush like this, or one of them foam brushes, and just right over it. Oh, there you go. One foul swoop? That was another saying. Yeah, and just do the whole thing white. Very, very light coat. It doesn't have to be solid, doesn't have to be solid white. Just to suck up into the wood, and then you're good to go. You don't have to like have full coverage. No, just enough so you don't have to do 2 coats. How am I on time? A little bit. So I'm going to just do the F, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to finish this off, and we'll finish the hello after and post a picture. Now, if you noticed, there's a little bit of white, I don't know, or wood or whatever around my lettering. I'm not really worried about that, and I'm not really worried about my lettering being exact, and I'll tell you why. So you can see a little bit, I can see a little bit. See in there? My lettering is not perfect. Far from it. It looks great from here, and this is actually, you know, a decent distance is how art should be viewed. But my lettering is not perfect, but I don't care about that because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm getting my black, and I'm going to outline, and this is going to clean up edges. This is going to get the spots that I may have missed. If you are so inclined, you have to wait for your paint to be completely dry. You can get a Posca pen. This is a black Posca pen, and trace. It's up to you. I'm pretty good with a liner brush, so I will do it with a liner brush, and this way I can do it while my paint is wet. And I'm just going in and I'm outlining it. So this cleans it all up. So if you went out of the lines, or you weren't happy about something, or you messed up, well, you really can't mess up, but you think you messed up. That's more the problem. We think we messed up even though we didn't. That's pretty. Thank you. So I'm just going to do this, do these little pieces. And again, does not have to be perfect, you guys. Using my liner brush. The trick with when you do a liner brush is you want your paint to be thin. So if your paint is not moving, you might want to just add a touch of water. Just a touch. I will just dip my brush into the water and mix it in. But so far, my paint is working out really well. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to get out a little bit of white. I'm going to save hello because we're getting short on time here. But I will finish it after, and then I will post the picture. I'm just going to show you guys how I'm going to now do some details over here. I'm coming in here where I did my black around my center, and I'm just adding a little bit of white. Not as much, just a little bit. Then I'm going to come in here, and I want to add a white highlight into one side of my petal. So that's it. I'm not doing this one because obviously it would be on the other side. Then I'm going to get the white, and up here where I did the soft yellow and the yellow and the black have dried, I'm just adding in some white just to highlight a little bit more. My white splattered. Let me fix that. It'll dry and it'll be fine. Not gonna worry about it. Okay. And then I'm also going to get the white, and I'm going to put my pinky against the outer edge of the wood and go all the way around. I'm wiggling my brush like a snake or a worm. I'm keeping my pinky in here so it keeps the distance the same. Oh, hopped off there a little bit. Then I'm going to go around and around. There we go. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to do the same thing with black, but not as much. This time I'm going to skip a bunch of areas because I want my black to be a little bit less than my white. I'm still using my pinky. I'm still curling or scalloping or whatever you want to say, but I'm making shorter strokes because I want my white to be dominant. And just have a little bit of black around there. Got a little white on there again. So if you get a little paint on there too, you don't have to go over it with the paint. You could come over here and use a little bit of water and then grab whatever you have that's clean and dab it up, and then it's gone. Okay. Another tip for you guys. And I'm going to now add a little bit of white highlight to my letters. And there we go.